What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am Stephen D., Vice President of Miami Sports Music. And if you noticed a little something different, I'm in a new place. I'm actually with Solo D down in Miami this weekend. We were at the NFL draft last night. And unfortunately, I had to leave my man Jamie still in Maryland. He couldn't make the trip down here. But Jamie is on with us. What's up, Jamie?
What's up, man? You left me here to this crappy weather while you enjoying yourself down there in Miami. You suck. You know that, right? Still love you, though.
Well, look, man, I am super excited to be on here with you tonight. We got a lot of good things going on. We also have our boy TD in the building. TD's also doing his live stream, as you guys can see here.
What's up?
What's up, TD? Tell the people how you're working it tonight. You're doing double duty.
Yeah, man, it's multicasting. You know, I got everybody on my end. They're watching y'all right now too. You know, Miami Sports Music. Y'all got to make sure y'all go check them out. So we got the multicast. I got multiple streams going. Just put it like that.
Well, look, man, I'm excited. So, I mean, look, we're trying to get some people on that are at the draft in Cleveland. But before I do that, TD, let me get your thoughts on last night, man. What do you tell me about last night?
Super Bowl! Let's go. Listen, man, we win and we got us we got the slot receiver that we needed so that we can move on from the guys who have been very inconsistent for so many years now. Potentially in Jakeem Grant and/or he takes a backup role. And potentially Albert Wilson. So we got our young guy of the future who's explosive, and what he's going to get the Miami Dolphins is the yak. The yards after the catch, the ability to get it in open field and make plays. And then we went up to 18. And Jamie Bahamas, what did I tell you at 18? What did I tell you was going to happen at 18? All five of us did a mock, and only one of us had Phillips at 18. And I told y'all to ain't nobody worrying about no concussions, man. Listen.
Hey, look, we're going to get into that real quick. I got somebody in Cleveland. Dag, he came off as soon as I was about to put him on.
hey, who did the Jaguars pick? Do y'all know?
Tyson Campbell, cornerback out of Georgia. Just came off the board with the number 33rd pick. And just so everybody knows, Jacksonville was on the clock. Now the Jets are on the clock. And then after that is the Atlanta Falcons and then the Miami Dolphins. Look, I'm going to let you guys kind of go back and forth. When I get Danny back on, I'm going to interrupt who's ever talking. Jamie, what are your thoughts about last night? And you two guys can go back.
So rude. But anyway, talking to my boy T. Hey, listen to this, right? So you're right. The Miami Dolphins ain't afraid of no concussions. Everybody else was. There's no reason. Even Greer said himself last night, was like, what? He's still here at 18? He couldn't believe it, man. So that changed the whole play. So I'm excited. That dude's a sack master. Like I wrote about it yesterday. He's no stranger to the backfield. Mm-hmm. He's healthy now. Let him come do his thing. He got somebody on the other side of Ogba. Ogba's numbers are going to go up this year too with that, man. I'm ready.
What I love more than anything is his pursuit in the backfield. You know, if the quarterback rolls out, he's hot on their trail. You know, it's not like he has that speed, he has that quickness that gets there. So listen, I just think that this team did what they had to do. That Waddle move, though, what I love about it, man, I can see it now. You know, Will Fuller, Devontae Parker on go routes, and you got Gesicki streaming through the middle and Waddle just eating underneath all day. Or if they want to take away the underneath, somebody's going to have a one-on-one on the outside. And it's going to be a scary thing for other defenses to handle. So we bring a little power to the offense. But the reality is, the only thing that really matters is how Tua's going to perform with it. That's what matters over anything, you know?
Angry Homie, when Tua balls out next year, y'all haters will say it's because everyone else around him and not Tua. I already know this to be a fact. Guarantee it.
He's right. He's right.
TD might say that, but Jamie won't say that.
Nope. TD's gonna say that, you know, because people are setting that up already. They already know. Because otherwise, what was the problem last year? He needs weapons. So when you get him, now all of a sudden, it ain't the weapons that's helping him. It's him that elevated. No, the weapons will help him in his game.
Who are people calling the greatest quarterback ever right now? Who's the hype? Who everybody's putting that name behind? I'm not saying I'm putting, but who's that person they're saying that about?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. How did Brady look with no weapons? Pedestrian. Don't tell me he didn't.
No. See, no.
Numbers. Don't tell me he didn't. If that was Brady's first year, and that's what he was doing, nobody would have ever said, "Oh my God, this guy is potentially going to work." They would have said, "We need to give him weapons."
Angry homie because TD's a Tua hater. That's why.
You better. Hey, call it what you want it. Facts. It's all facts over here. But Jamie, listen to me. Stop with that. Brady didn't have weapons. For the first time, he had middle school kids on the field, and we want to say Brady ain't had no weapons. They had all kind of problems on that team, and they couldn't run the ball, which is something that he relied on checking to with great defense. But don't forget, over the history, everybody called most of the New England receivers bums for like forever. But then when they kept racking up Super Bowls, now all of a sudden Edelman and Welker and all of them, all of a sudden, actually, when you look back, they were really good. Come on, man.
No, but my point is, I think you kind of even just gave me the point too, by the way, because look at what you did when you ready to give him some real weapons. Look what he did when Randy Moss was. I agree. You know what I mean? They broke records. Nobody could even keep up with them, right? So my point is this, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's one way or the other, right? When they ball out this year, I'm going to give some credit to Tua, but I'm also going to say it's because the weapons are there. And if you take the weapons away, he won't be able to pull it off, right? But I'll tell you this. I'll give you one thing. I'll give you one thing in your hat so you can run with it. If Tua can't do it with what they're putting around him, then Tua ain't the answer.
Listen, my only barometer is this man better not get benched one game. Not a single game. But let me say this. As the Jets pick up Elijah Moore, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss, the Jets are gearing up, man. But I want to say this,
That's
Jamie.
a great pick, too.
Yeah, it is. Jamie, well, first off, as we get to know each other, this might give you a little bit more perspective about the Brady thing and me. Don't forget, TD, even though he calls him the GOAT, because you just rightfully get that, you win that many and you play big time in big games. But don't forget, TD says Brady is a slightly above average quarterback who uses his brain over anything, and that he has always been a product of the defense and the system that has been around him. He's just smart enough to identify using that to its maximum capacity. He's never had that talent like some of these guys like Rodgers and all of that from a playing talent standpoint, but he uses his brain. So that's why I put that into perspective. Yes, he's the GOAT because rightfully so. The numbers start adding up. You're going to become the GOAT, but at the same token, slightly above average, but that's all I need from Tua is to be slightly above average.
Hey, we're going to get slaughtered by anybody who's not a Dolphins fan for saying this, but
of course they are.
Yeah, and I endorse that to the fullest, man. I couldn't agree with you more on that. But I want to shift us away a little bit because we're going to run out of time. Who you got coming up at 36? Do we stay at this pick, and who do we go after if we stay there? What are you thinking?
So many different ways we can go. If, and I make a strong if the reports were true that we were potentially moving up above in front of trying to move up in front of Pittsburgh to get Najee. If that's true, then it looks like we're going to be going Javonte. And that should be the play. But I'm gonna tell you, if we don't go Javonte, then I have no faith that report was true at all. Because it wouldn't make any sense. It's just or a running back. They might have a guy that none of us really put that high that they loved, but I don't see it. But we'll see.
See, the only thing that freaks me out about that take that you had was my take, meaning that I told you from before in the pregame show they got to get a running back, they got to get the best guy on the board. They cannot. That's right now. There's only two positions that they have not addressed with a high draft pick or an expensive free agent or an expensive keeper like on their own team already. And the two are running back and safety, right? So I figure, they haven't gone with a high draft pick for a safety yet, and they haven't really broke the bank on a safety yet, right?
The safety is the wild card one. You're right, man. That's what I thought about at 36, but I just felt like maybe they're gonna let that slide and try to pick that up at on the next second round pick. But I don't know. That's a good one though because it is needed.
Hey, guys, real quick. Atlanta just traded their pick to Denver.
Oh, my gosh.
Which means Denver jumped in front of us to get somebody.
Yeah, and let's see. And
real quick, who do you guys think it is?
Javonte Williams.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. Because that's not the thing, though. the Dolphins don't ever let things slip. So I wonder if they leaked it out that they were chasing a running back so somebody could make a move, right? We know they usually don't slip up and let people know what they're doing. So it could be a chess move.
Yeah, but we're going to find out.
Broncos acquire a 35th overall pick from Falcons. So look, this is a very interesting. I told Jamie and we talked just a little bit briefly earlier, and I said there's going to be trades that happen at the top of this draft. Like there was no question in my mind that was going to happen.
Well, maybe they're not.
I mean, let's think about it. What does Denver need?
They still need a quarterback help, right?
It's not a running back.
There's nobody up there that is worth trading to get in front of the second round there. Nobody.
Who's at 38? I can't see right now though. Who's in that vicinity?
All right, so 37 is the Eagles, 38 is the Bengals, 39 is the Panthers, 40 is the Broncos. Well, it was.
Here we go.
It was the Broncos, so I'm assuming now that's Atlanta.
Here we go. I'm gonna tell you now. If they take the guy Miami wants, Miami will trade out.
As they should,
because there ain't many people that you would want at this pick right here. Where you can get more value. We don't have a 4th round pick.
All right, look, if you guys are wondering, I appreciate you guys joining us right now. This is the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. The 3rd pick is in. Denver has just traded up, and it's about to be announced right now. So we're about to find out. If you guys want to ask questions, put questions in the comment box. I'm assuming that's Javonte.
It happened again. They did it 2 years in a row. The Dolphins, tried to be strategic. I mean, don't get me wrong. Let me say this first. Let me put my disclaimer there. I'm happy with the first round went. I'm happy with the players they actually got. But now you have this big glaring hole in this gap again where the 3 top guys, and honestly, the only 2 I really wanted was either Najee Harris or Javonte Williams, and now they're gone again, and 1 pick ahead of Miami too.
And they came right up in front of us. Everybody and their mama knew that we were grabbing this kid.
Yeah. Javonte Williams, the running back out of the University of North Carolina, and as a Miami sports music guy, we all know what he did to the Hurricanes last couple of years. 5'9", weighs 212. Look, people compare him to Nick Chubb. I was excited, and TD, man, your reaction says it all. Tell me what's in your mind right now, man.
And our pick is in fast. They put our pick in fast. It took no time for them to put our pick in, so maybe we weren't going that direction.
So, TD, it goes back to what I was saying, right? Like, when things leak out of Miami, it's strategic, right? So they probably put up that smoke and mirrors that, hey, running back.
No, you're right. You're right, man.
Don't bring that up.
You're right. They might have put up those smoke and mirrors, man. But because we ran our pick to the podium just now. So we're about to find out what position. And now I'm not talking player. I'm talking about what position. Because it's hard. I can't sit here and guess a specific player.
I say center or safety.
Running back, safety, or what if we're moving a little early for a center?
Yeah. So Quinn Miners, I think, is a possibility, maybe.
Boy.
Still have, there's still the top lineman from Alabama. I can't remember his name. He doesn't play center, but you never know that they do that too. But
there are a few linebackers, 2 more on this board that I know Flores loves, man. I mean, it can go any way.
All right, real quick. Jamie, who are we picking here? Real quick.
Man, I'm lost. I'm telling you, I had my eyes.
I think we go Landon Dickerson here. That's what I think we're gonna do. Landon Dickerson is my choice here. I think it's a little bit high up, but I think why not here? There's Danny. We're watching the NFL Network on the side here. Danny from TPP. He's gonna be on with us in a little bit. TD, man, who do you think?
Man, you got me, bro. It's too many different ways, man, we could go. I mean, you got the kid Johnson out of Oklahoma. You got Owosu. Here we go, the selection. I'm gonna say I have no clue, bro.
The new pick for the Miami Dolphins, Javon Holland.
Safety.
Wow.
They got no Oregon. Hey, no, this kid is special though. He didn't play last year though. This kid is special.
Well, talk to us, man. Tell us about him. Listen,
man. This kid, well, of course, he didn't play last year. And well, you're seeing all the stats and stuff on the screen. This kid here, a lot of people knew that he was going to fall, but they thought that he was going to be held against him because he did hold out. I mean, he has the speed. He's 6'1", 208 pounds. We're talking about the replacement. This guy is actually. This is what confuses me because he plays Bobby McCain's. Because I thought that that's what Jones was for, but we got another one anyway.
But I got a feeling. So let me do something right. Not to, like I said, I thought I was running back at this pick. I thought we were going to draft this guy, but I thought it was going to be with the next round. I didn't think he'd go this high.
When they have their guy.
And you want me to back it up? Hey, if you don't mind, Steven, while we're here, you don't have to do it right away. But if you could pull up my latest article from 305 Sports, and just what I predicted for day 3, and you'll see.
I'll bring that up. What you guys?
I mean, sorry, day two. I'm sorry, but I didn't expect it to be their first pick in round 2. But that's why I kept saying, TD, that there's a couple of positions that they haven't invested in, and the Dolphins are literally trying to build through the draft. If you think about it, right? People get mad at the free agents that they keep shipping out. Like, hey, they just signed this guy last year, now he's going. I'm like, guys, that's the plan. I said, what the Dolphins are doing is they have all these draft picks. When they're done, the team will be literally built through the draft. They're going to the free agency for patchwork. They're saying, okay, cool. We don't have a guy in this area just yet, and we want to play and win games. So you know what? We will rent this guy for a year until we go and get our guy in the draft for the next year or a year after that. And they'll keep doing that, and that's how they keep putting the offense together and the defense together, so they could build a system. So when they move a guy out, they know they found the right guy to just plug right in there, and they don't have to change what they do for that guy, right? So that's why I had my eyes keyed in clearly on safety and running back. I thought the running back was going to go first just because I didn't think because the safeties were rated much lower in this draft, especially this kid. So I thought he would end up going in the 3rd round. But I definitely put him in there and say, hey, watch out for this guy. I think the Dolphins are going to have their eye on him because I had a feeling safety is where they were going to go.
Jamie, I pulled it up on the screen.
Yeah, so if you scroll to my last paragraph in there and just take a read on that, and that's what I said to look for today.
With Najee Harris and Travis off the board, keep your eye on running back Javonte Williams. Obviously, he was gone with the pick before us. From a safety standpoint, Javon Holland from Oregon could fill in at safety. We also need to keep the J-name player trend going. Lastly, the Dolphins could look to continue to build the offensive line with Landon Dickerson or Quinn Mernez to be the future center of the offensive line.
Let me say this because good read on that, Jamie. I actually I didn't have us getting this kid at all because I didn't have him day 3. I had him somewhere at the end of day 2 after our 2nd pick, but I didn't have us getting him at all. But it's interesting to me because this isn't the most. No. Here's the deal. That's what I was just going to talk about. I was just going to talk about that because it's interesting that we all, want this or we want that or whatever it may be. But like you said, they're building through the draft, and when Flores has his guy on defense, Flores owns defense. Okay, when he has his guy, the draft pick doesn't matter. Because here's why. What if somebody would have got him at 49? And they reached. Well, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. And at the end of the day, when he wants his guy, he goes and gets him. And the beautiful part about getting your guy, he doesn't have to play right away, just like Jones.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for us to start seeing guys behind the guys we got get ready to take on a role and get the proper training and development needed behind Eric Rowe, behind Bobby McCain, potentially. This is how you build your team.
This is New England Patriot football.
Exactly. This is how you do it. But what people have to understand is, let's be honest here. We got 3 backs that's coming back next year on this roster that'll contribute. We just needed that 4th and have him be the lead.
Yeah, you got it.
You see what I'm saying? So
that's how I see it, T. We already know the formula now, right? We're hip to this. You and I picked up on this. I know it's still like we're validating ourselves this year and realizing, hey, it took us a while, but we can kind of clue in on how Greer's doing this, right? So I tell you what they're gonna do now, right? When they get through this draft process, it might not be any guy we loved or who we wanted, but when they get done, if they're gonna add a running back either through free agency or undrafted undrafted running back at the end of this to fit that need for this year. And guess what? Next year is gonna be a high priority with those extra draft picks.
And it might be your first round pick.
Yep, might just be that.
It might be.
See how they looked at look how Waddle caught some people off guard, right? The Dolphins were eyeing that guy for a while. They already knew, like, hey, look, when we get in the first round next year, we have the extra picks. This is the type of field we're looking for. They knew who their guy was, right?
All right.
Yep.
I want to ask you guys something that really bothers me as a fan. And, from the comments here, it definitely is something that the, people are talking about. Angry Homie says, I'm surprised we didn't go center at 36. Guys, we have not addressed the offensive line at all.
No.
See, that's a mentality. That's a mentality thing.
Well, tell me as a fan, tell me why I shouldn't be concerned about that.
Yeah. T, do you want to take it first, and then I'll jump in?
Yeah, let me hit it real quick. It's a mentality with our fan base. Okay, do we have a center that can get us through this year and a backup? Yes, right. And
we don't know about this guy yet. Baltimore did not like it.
No. See, we're not asking anyone to be perfect, bro. We're asking somebody to fill a position and give us serviceable time as we continue to develop. And here's another thing. It amazes me that if Miami Dolphins go center with the next pick, or they go center in the 3rd round, and that guy comes to camp and he balls out and becomes our future center, all of this agony and pain goes out the window. And we hear people say, trust the process. Well, you know what? Let's keep trusting it, right? The hypocrisy is real. But let me say this. The mentality has to change with Miami Dolphin fans, okay? And let me tell you why I say that. The Miami Dolphins are filling holes and providing depth and making moves for 2022. This is the camp of 2022. Some of these guys, your Jalen Phillips, will get reps this year. But in the way that we run our system, him and Ogba may not even be on the field at the same time a lot. The way that we run our defense. He's going to be a spot guy in the first year.
Dickerson just came off the board.
Yeah, I saw that.
Landon Dickerson just came. This is the guy I wanted.
Let me jump in that segue though, Stephen. So I see you. I appreciate you bringing it from the fan perspective and nailing it. TD's onto something. And if you guys follow what we're saying, we kind of answered this question before it was even asked, right? The Dolphins will address it with the center that they want. I like what TD said earlier in this. Flores and Greer have their guys. They knew who it is, and they're not going to go settle. They're not going to go just draft a position just because, hey, we need that position. If it's not the guy that they want, the specific guy that fits their role. So what they do in the meantime is, like, they went out and got the free agent from Baltimore, right? They went and said, hey, you sit here. But that doesn't mean that they won't draft a guy here. And the guy they're going to draft here is going to fit the value that they see him at. So it wouldn't surprise, like I said, you just read the statement that I just put up from last night.
Real quick, New England just traded up.
And they got Christian Barrymore, the defensive tackle. They need. They beefing up. They beefing up the middle.
And he had first round. Draft grades all across the board. I mean, New England is definitely getting better through the draft, with the exception of Mac Jones, in my opinion.
Hey,
who? Mac Jones. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jamie. I just thought it was very interesting that they traded up.
Yeah, just to answer that, to finish off on that, right? As fans, the reason why it's hard to swallow as Dolphins fans is because the team has never been built this way before. The way we would build the team before was our owners always had deep pockets, and if we wanted something, we wanted a candy out there, whatever it was we needed, we went and bought it. And it wasn't, and honestly, it never worked out, right? We spent a lot of money, put ourselves in certain situations that then it was hard to dig out of, right? Now we have a team that's actually being built with flexibility. The Dolphins have made some mistakes. I'm not going to tell you every move was perfect, but the good thing is this time around, when they make a mistake or they have a miss or whatever, they're not stuck in that position for longer than that year that they're in. They know immediately they can course correct that situation. So that's another reason why some of these moves, people might say, oh, no, I really wanted a running back, like we mentioned.
Do you know why I question you guys? Question that, maybe not you guys per se, but question that. I'm going to start naming some names, and you're going to understand. Ted Ginn Jr.
Okay.
Right? Jake Long.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like those two guys right there, you know, John Beck, you know, Pat White. Like there were better people on the board at positions that needed to be addressed right away.
But
let me respond to that, Steve.
Pull it back now, right? Rewind. There's one thing in common with all of those names you put in. That's the part of what I was talking about. That's a part of the mistakes where we were just going after, hey, we need it. Like when they took Ted Ginn, guess what the knock on the Dolphins was? Hey, the team is too slow. There's no speed on this team. So what they did is they just found the fastest wide receiver out there with a first-round grade and said, let's go get this guy, right? And they just forced it and tried to make it work, tried to make that guy be something more than he was, that he was, and then they kept trying to build on that. We don't do that anymore, right? And then the last part before I give this back to TD for him to knock this out of the park is anybody who's saying that we're not addressing the offensive line, please remember this rebuild is not a one-year thing. This is building until we get to 1-2 more years from now. So look at how heavily they invested on the offensive line last year. If you go and start making redundant high investments, you're not building the team. You're gonna end up in a situation where you have a wealth of riches in one area and just holes, and you're trying to figure out, well, why can't we score points still, or why can't we stop anybody or whatever? You gotta. It's a whole. It's like being an architect, putting it all together, and they're doing it.
And Jamie made a great point on that. But real quick, Steven, the one thing that's also in common with all four of those guys you mentioned, they have nothing to do with Brian Flores and Chris Greer.
That's true. I got you, but I have PTSD from a lot of those things.
I don't know. Yeah. You're right. I still suffer from little glimpses here and there.
I feel like I'm going to. Oh man, Tevin Jenkins just came off the board. Wow. Chicago just traded up with the Carolina Panthers. All these guys I wanted, dude, are coming off the board. I'm losing my mind. All these guys are coming off the board, and I'm losing it. Like this offensive line is something that I wanted to address to a T in this draft, and I'd be lying if I told you I'm not freaking out.
So Steven, do you realize one thing? I'll help you breathe a little bit better. Do you know that just by them drafting those guys last year, time itself will make the offensive line better, right?
Exactly.
The Jackson, the Solomon Kinleys of the world, you guys haven't seen what they are yet. Those guys are now adding NFL bodies, NFL weight.
Yeah, but you can't be mad with depth. It's always good to have depth.
Yeah,
but you're gonna draft depth in the first or second round.
All right, time out. What is the number one thing I feel like people were mad at Ryan Tannehill about? Right, that he got sacked a lot, and that if he had an offensive line, he could have done something in Miami.
And the Dolphins have addressed the line. That's the argument that we're trying to tell you. They have abandoned and not done anything. How many high picks were on the offensive line last year? How many starters were rookies last year? And rookie starters at the offensive line is something that usually doesn't happen. And those guys held their own as rookies. A year later, with health, with more conditioning, with adding weight, staying in the same scheme, that continuity, offensive linemen get better by that just alone.
So you mean to tell me that Flores and Greer liked the safety that we got from Oregon more than they liked Tevin Jenkins or Landon Dickerson or like?
Yeah. Let me respond. Please let me respond to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen. What position does Tevin Jenkins play?
Tackle.
So for them, we just invested in Austin Jackson, who we believe we saw enough for him to develop, even take that net. Because let me say this, Stephen, are you a Tua believer?
I am.
You believe in Tua?
I do believe in Tua.
So let's put our Tua cap on. Let's apply what y'all apply to Tua to Austin Jackson.
Okay.
And so should we have drafted another quarterback? Let's apply what we applied with Tua with Robert Hunt at the right tackle. Let's apply what we applied with Tua with Solomon Kinley. Can we please do that, Dolphin fans? And then we wouldn't be worried about. We literally just drafted these guys last year. Let them digress this year before we start talking like that.
So I will admit it's the PTSD. I'm hurt. Hold up.
Get it.
Hold up. Just at that camera.
Hey, defense win championships, baby. We going to the Super Bowl. I don't care who we pick up. When they put that jersey on, we represent, baby. DWA, let's go.
Hey, Solo, what's the record? What's the record, Solo?
What's up? The record? 17-0, we don't count no losses. Y'all know how to get out. Shout out to the homie from Oregon. Welcome to the game. It's going down.
Hey.
Defense win championships.
20-0, baby. 20-0. We gotta go.
You right. We gotta go to playoffs.
Hey, but no, man, we got to apply that same principle, man. Listen, these guys are young. They showed enough last year to where we believe they could take even a further step. I mean, look, we talking right tackle. Everybody like, oh, they need to kick Hunt inside. Again, at the second half of the year, Hunt was rated the fifth best right tackle in the NFL.
On top of that, TD, while you're preaching, I'm mad at the fact that they're saying look at depth, right? What did we do in free agency? What was the most active position in free agency when you want to talk about
The
depth?
O-line.
Right? So it's not like they're ignoring it, right? So it's funny. Fans are actually asking them to do exactly what they're doing. So as a fan, you should actually be happy because you're like, well, I can't believe it. Like, I want them to fix it. They're looking at these things and they're doing it the right way. It might not always be the sexy move, right? And I know that gets you, but the funny thing about it is the moves that Dolphins are making, they're also kind of sexy. So it's crazy. Like, they're doing nice and sweet moves, and they're also doing smart moves, right? So
Yep.
Brian G says Holland was the best safety in the draft. All right, hey, guys, real quick. I got a surprise for you. And it's mainly for TD.
Mainly for TD. Vincent!
Hi, everybody.
Oh, Lord. Number 1, 2 in the year.
Yes.
All right, now, Vincent, I saw you in the comments. Number 1, welcome. I'm excited that you're with us. You're going to hang out tonight, talk a little bit of draft. Number 2, we've all been saying some crazy stuff and blasphemous, words. Talk to us, Vincent. Talk to us.
About what specifically? Because I was trying to run and get set up in a quick way. My dad's downstairs waiting for me to come join him back down there with the draft and everything. So I've been 0 dark 30 for the last 10 minutes. So you gotta talk to me about what specifically.
Well, number 1, did you see who we drafted? Holland, the safety from Oregon.
Oh, Miami traded up, y'all. Miami traded up to
42.
42?
Whoa.
42?
Wow. Uh-oh.
It's woo.
Hey.
Wow.
Hey, our guy, Mr. Ballgame, wants to talk to you. He said, drop the link. I don't know how it's going tonight, but
the way that it's set up, it won't work because I'm actually on 2 streams. He would only be on 1, so it'll be kind of weird.
Got you.
That's why I'm doubled out on the screen. So once we wrap this up, I definitely want to bring him in.
Miami traded up to 42. Huh?
Man, now
we got Holland?
Yeah, we sure did.
Yes.
And this is the blasphemy, right? I love the pick. I think TD loves the pick. I don't know. The fans love the pick, and Steven is speaking for the voice of the fans and saying, "Hey, offensive line. There's other things we could have done." So tell me what you feel about that pick.
Flores is getting his defense together.
Oh,
Flores is slowly ushering out some guys that we love and all that, but he wants who he wants. He knows he's going to come in fit, be young, and healthy. And hey, what else can we ask for? So far, his plan for our defense has looked very well. It's been working. We're going to negate that Bills game and the monstrosity that was, but he has a plan. And like I said, I'm going to follow it. He does not want to put too much onto it. If it comes down to scoring, 12 points a game, then okay. Defense, you can only give up 10 and probably not even that. So, hey, let's go. I'm excited.
Do we know what we gave up?
And when I gave my analysis on this pick earlier, something I didn't mention, but it was another reason why I said Holland would be the pick. I mentioned this to you guys in our pregame show. Minkah Fitzpatrick, the Dolphins wanted him to be a Dolphin. Greer wanted him. Flores wanted him. Right. The problem was he didn't want it. Right. And they showed you the type of guy they wanted in this defense. They weren't going to settle and just throw any safety in there. They were going to go find another guy that they could make and say, hey, you know what? Yep. Sometimes you put your hand on the ground. Sometimes you're going to back up. Sometimes you got to go play man cover. Sometimes we're going to blitz you. This guy fits that. That's why I like this guy. That's why I looked at it and said, hey, this guy fits what the Dolphins do. Didn't know he would go this pick, but I love the pick for that reason.
Listen, I need y'all to do me a favor, though. I need y'all to get in contact with y'all contacts so I can get this Bobby McCain jersey signed before he gets kicked out.
But maybe he still has. Maybe he still has one more year though in this kid. You know, unless this kid blows him out in camp. See, this is the goal. If the kid, kills it in camp, then they let Bobby go, just like they did with Kenny Stills and Laramie during camp. The Lions.
Richie Grant. Oh no, that
Levi Enrique. Man, they got the defensive tackle. They're going up the middle too. So that's what they're doing. They're bringing in guys who could sit behind guys for 1 year, or if they just blossom into this beautiful flower in camp, they can move on even sooner.
All right. Well, Miami's pick is already in.
They know who they want.
Right into the podium, and they know who they want.
They knew who they wanted, and this is the first aggressive move I've seen in a long time by Miami.
Do we know what we gave up? Do we know what we gave up?
No, it hasn't come out yet.
I was trying, yeah. So the other thing too, right? So we talked about a running back. Remember they coached the Senior Bowl. One thing I was afraid of because I wasn't excited about the pick. I was all in on Najee. Michael Carter did well in the Reese's Senior Bowl, right? And that's somebody they got to coach, talk to, see up front. What if that's their guy at running back where we keep panicking and saying, hey, they didn't get anybody we thought? That's a possibility.
Do you think they're going to draft a guy, though?
All right, I think I got it. I think I got the trade details.
Okay, go ahead, TD.
So the Dolphins give up pick number 50 and a third rounder in 2022. Is that third rounder that we picked up in the trade?
Who cares? We didn't have to give up. Great.
And it is believed that they are going to get Notre Dame's offensive tackle guard Liam Eschenberg.
Who called that? Who called that?
Hey, it ain't happened. It ain't happened. It ain't happened yet, Steven. It ain't happened yet, man.
Don't let us pick that guy. I swear, don't let us pick that guy.
The one thing I can tell you about Eschenberg, he is legit at both positions.
He's great. And if we get him, I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna
lie. That'll be real legit.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
The Miami Dolphins will be on fire if they do that, man.
A real fresh Tua jersey on the stage.
And he's clapping. He's
shout it out.
One more time, Chef Shu said, what did we give up for 42?
Here we go. Liam Eschenberg got him. They got him.
That, son.
They got him.
Oh, dang.
Wow. We had a plan and we executing and we taking what we want.
Listen, and now everybody can relax about Tua's protection, I guess, right?
It ain't no excuse now. This O-line is set at this point. You just need a center of the future, and maybe that's one of your highest picks next year.
Goodness, this guy is 6'6". He's 306
Yeah, he's a monster.
pounds. All right, he's from Notre Dame. He's a senior. I mean, this guy's legit. Like, this guy's legit. He automatically makes our offensive line that much better.
Oh my gosh.
He plays inside and outside.
Our front office is probably doing something right in life.
We're not used to it. What is this?
Wow.
But I'd say over the past couple of years, right? This regime, I trust them so far, man.
Listen, man, we're doing this the right way, bro. See, these guys are your future. Look at these four guys: Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland, Liam Eschenberg. These guys are your future. And let me tell you what's funny about it. When we were making that point earlier, Jamie, when we were making that point earlier, here's the funny thing. Say they didn't get Hollins, right? And then next year, when the safety is gone and we have nobody, it's like
Build
we
in
need
the
to go
trenches.
get a safety.
Let's say it again.
Yeah.
Build in the trenches. Protect the investment. Protect your quarterback. Build the trenches, baby. That's how you win. 20-0.
Wait, Steven is in Miami right now?
I'm in Miami.
Yes.
I am in
had
Miami.
no clue. I had
See?
no idea. Like it didn't
But
hit me.
you know what? I want to yell at you because that means you have been following Miami sports music on social media all week.
I have not been following anything.
We were at the draft party in Miami at Hard Rock last night, and then today we were on Onside Radio for an hour on Alex Dunno's show, and then tomorrow morning we're going to be streaming again on here for the Beach Bash over on the other side of the state with Allie Dolph Freaky, who we have a big announcement tonight when she gets up here, a major announcement. So pretty excited about that.
I have already reached out to her and congratulated her. I'm really excited for her and all that. So shout out to Dolph Freaky. I'm not going to, blow the announcement, but shout out to her. You guys are going to be very excited what she has coming through for you guys.
Yeah, I asked Jamie to come, but he wanted to stay in Maryland.
Listen, can I tell you something? When I told my dad that a Larry Little autograph jersey was on the market, like up for raffle, he just looked at me and I was like, oh my gosh, if I was not moving, I was going to drop some serious buckets on that.
Hey, TJ, you won't tell Allie that. You won't tell Allie that, TJ. I know that.
What?
Allie, she gonna lay the smack down on you, TJ. All right, look, I am so stoked, dude. Like I love. Oh my god.
And we have 81.
So let's start. Let me start again. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to yesterday. Are you happy with Waddle over Devontae Smith? Let's start there.
Absolutely. He was the better prospect for me anyway.
Yeah.
And what I like about the move is I like the versatility, right? I heard some people call him a slot. People ask if he's going to play outside, he's going to play inside. You got to listen to the words of the team, right? When those guys talked in the press conference last night, they were just happy to make this guy be a playmaker. They used the word playmaker 3 or 4 times last night, and they also talked about special teams. What I like about this move is a lot of times wide receivers in the NFL and come in the NFL draft in the first round, they don't blow you away. Like look at last year, right? Those guys are going to be good, but all those guys that went in the first round last year didn't really knock your socks off. And that's because it's a little bit of an adjustment coming into the NFL speed, these defenses and things like that. And they'll succeed. But our guy's going to find ways. They're going to find ways to have him on the field where, yeah, he might not be the top 3 wide receiver in the league, but he's going to make substantial plays that win games for us next year in 2 phases or maybe 3 phases: punt, kick return, and on offense. This is going to be crazy.
Who's the odd man out on the wide receivers? Who's the odd man
out? We got 2 punt returners just now. Waddle.
Go ahead, T.
Waddle and Hollins both return punts. That's one of their specialties as well. Jakeem Grant, he's gonna be out of here.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only thing I don't know is, do they hold on to Grant for 1 year just because?
If they do that, then Albert Wilson's gone.
Or you have Allen Hurns too.
Well, Hearn's contract is like a waste of money to let him go. You're paying him more dead cap than what he's owed.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's a trade. That is a tough one, right? So,
all right. So let's look. Devontae Parker 1, right? Everybody's good there. Jalen Waddle 2, right? Everybody's good there.
Will Fuller 2, but yeah.
I put Will Fuller in the slot. That's just me. So that's why I have him at 3. Okay.
Really?
Personally, that's just me, right? So I put fine. Will Fuller 2, Waddle 3. Make TD happy. Number 4.
Preston Williams. The salary warrants it. This is his last chance.
Okay.
To be a good solid backup.
Any argument there from Jamie or Finsanity?
No, I'm waiting until you get to the controversial guys because you have.
Okay, so 5. Who's 5, TD?
Number 5. At this particular moment, I'm going with Albert Wilson.
You got it.
I mean, seven.
You can't forget.
Wait, is Isaiah Ford still on our roster?
You can't forget you still have Bowden, then Bowden Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Bowden. You got
And you got my guy from Navy, the quarterback.
Michael Perry.
Take a
Michael
slot.
Perry.
Well, we got 14 receivers on this roster right now. No, we do. We literally do. I mean, Kirk Merritt, Perry, all of them. I mean, it's so many. Holland. I mean, it's a lot of guys.
But that's Flores' culture. Competition everywhere. Like if you're gonna play for us, you're gonna beat out some guys. And I love it. Like
don't forget about the guy that we just got in free agency that gets 20 yards a catch. What's his name? Gosh, I don't know why my mind going cold, man.
Oh, the guy from Detroit.
Yeah. What's his name? I'm tripping. See, I'm having a hard time with these names.
The guy originally from Alabama, that guy.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Hey, while you're doing that, right?
No. The comment section will tell us. Foster.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I believe he's gonna make this roster. I mean, he's talented. I mean, the guy averaged 20 yards a catch. He's not going to be a number 1, number 2, and number 3, but he's going to come off that bench. That's the thing. I think they're ready to move on from Jakeem Grant and possibly Albert Wilson.
Yeah.
Albert Wilson, it's the last year of his contract anyway. Here's the deal with Albert Wilson. He would have been done as a Dolphin anyway. He just held out, so his contract moved over to this year.
But he had that injury thing too, right? We don't know how healthy he was coming in. He might have been
But he opted out of the season for COVID. But that was supposed to be his last contractual season.
Yeah.
All right, look, if you guys have a question, put it in the comment box of YouTube or Facebook. The first question I have is from Moat. What are we going to do about running back?
Le'Veon Bell. And they're just gonna probably do a 1 year.
She did not like that answer.
No, they might just do a 2-year deal, 1 year guaranteed, and then get their guy in the draft next year high up.
So what I was saying before that trade came in, like I said, they could still go get their guy that they had in the Pro Bowl without having to use a high pick, right? He's still one of the top in some people's boards. That other running back from North Carolina, Carter, he's in the top 5, in the top 10. And he doesn't have to be a day 1, day 2 pick potentially, right? And they know him. They could do that. Am I excited about that? No. But if they do it, I trust them. They've seen the guy. They've worked with the guy. Other than that, though, I feel that is a stronger possibility that they phone it in again this year again. They didn't get the guys. The guys that they wanted were too pricey. It was too much to give up. Like, could they have passed on Jalen Phillips? No way. Right? There's no way they could have passed on him. They couldn't even, because let's just say they traded back to pick up an extra pick to go get a running back. There was no guarantee to be on the board. He wasn't expected to be there then, right? I'm not going to go. I already told you how I felt about the safety in this round. They don't know what would have happened there. So the running backs just were too costly. I think they either go for one a little bit later that's not going to be as exciting, or they just let the draft go by and we deal with that another time. What do you guys think?
Well, first off, TD, is the Le'Veon just something you want, or is that like something?
No, I don't care for Le'Veon at all. I don't care for him.
I'm not trying to be out here looking like the desperate boyfriend that always keeps standing outside the window trying to beg for the girl to come. Le'Veon then said he didn't want us. He doesn't want us. He wants to go. He doesn't see us as a competitor. Now we may see ourselves as a competitor in the AFC, but he does not view us like that. He said he didn't care about the snap count and all that. What Le'Veon wants to do right now with his career is win a Super Bowl. And unless at an enlightenment period, I don't think he even takes us like seriously like that, even though we take ourselves seriously. There's still so many guys on the board. We still have Gaskins and Ahmed. We brought in Malcolm Brown. I don't know what the method to their madness is when it comes to the running back thing. Since they're coming from the Patriots thing, it might be running back by committee, and they might be, I don't know how they're set with what we got right now, but in their mind, they might think it's workable and doable. But hopefully, I'm praying that we get someone younger because I want younger legs. I mean, Gaskins isn't that old, and neither is Ahmed, but there's a lot of talent still left out here on the board. So it just comes down to their evaluation of these guys.
Yeah, and can I say this to that? It's not just that I want younger legs, right? I love Gaskin, I love Ahmed, but the thing that I want that we don't have I said this time and time again, as explosive and dynamic and how those guys came through for us. When we lined up on offense, no team fared us running the ball up the gut on them. And that takes away from your offense if you have nobody respecting your running game. Now, it helped us in some cases. If you go back and look at the Oakland game, that burnt them in a couple of cases by them not respecting it. They should have been lined up there, but that's not a consistent way to have a running game. You need that guy where you just know that I'm going to impose my will on you right now. I'm going to give you this ball. There's nothing you can do about it. And you know what that does? That sets up your play action. If we don't have somebody respecting our run game to that point, I don't care how much you put around Tua, he's still going to have a very single dimension game where you're saying, hey, I'm relying on these wide receivers to get their breaks and beat you and running on that scheme. You can't get creative and deceptive with your offense.
Hey, real quick. Jacksonville's having a hell of a draft. They just drafted the tackle from Stanford, Walker Little. I would be willing to say Jacksonville's having one of the best drafts of all the NFL teams. Any argument there from anybody?
Well, yeah, I mean they have the best picks, in the draft, so they should be having some.
That doesn't mean anything. You know that better than most.
Well, put it like this: take Trevor Lawrence off of the front, then you start grading, and it comes down to earth a little bit. But everybody knew he was going to be picked. I mean, it's still great picks. They're having a good night.
They got editing. I mean, I think they've made some decent picks.
Yeah. I mean, I like what they're doing. We got to play them, so we're gonna see what they put together.
So besides us, who do you think's having the best draft right now?
Besides us in Jacksonville?
Yeah. Thank you, Finsanity. By the way, your line. I'm behind the scenes doing a lot of stuff, and so I came off, but I could hear. And your line about the boyfriend. What did you say? The boyfriend.
We like even us like with Clowney. Like why are we still looking at Clowney? Like, oh, the offensive tie with Clowney. No, like come on, man. Like we can only take rejection, but so far, because the thing about it is like us as Dolphin fans, when we hear news, we get excited because we haven't had too much to be excited about in the years before. So it's kind of like now I'm just like, no. If you wasn't with us through the struggle, no.
You wasn't with me shooting in the gym?
There you go.
Yeah, I ain't about Clowney. But listen, two things. First, I think Dallas is having a good draft. They lost out on their corner, but then they doubled back and got Parsons. That was a great salvageable pick, especially for their run game. That division runs the ball. They're going to need that. And on top of it, Sean Lee just retired, so great pickup. And then they just got a stud at the cornerback position. They showing the highlights how he was intercepting the ball on Devontae Smith. That's why we got Waddle, by the way. But anywho, but yeah, man, Smith just ain't physical. But but one thing I'll say about the Le'Veon Bell thing earlier, again, Le'Veon Bell, bringing him in would not be for the future. It would just be having another back who can potentially, give you a few reps here and there and help out until we get our official guy. And another thing about the Le'Veon didn't choose us. Le'Veon came out and actually on record spoke out about his decision. He said it was a hard decision. He thought about Miami, but right now he wanted an opportunity to win. But people forget, we kind of almost had a losing record at the time, and we've adjusted that. We've gotten better. He saw what we did on defense. He saw what we did with the offense this offseason and in the draft. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard. It wouldn't be that hard.
To make it sound good.
I mean,
no, I don't care. What I'm saying is you got to bring in someone. And if we don't find that guy in this draft, they want Le'Veon regardless. He was a guy that they pursued two different occasions.
Who else is out there? There's nobody else out there. I mean, there might be.
No, there's guys in this draft. There are guys in this draft. There are guys in this draft that they actually like. I mean, I forgot what the kid's name is from Oklahoma that they coached in the Senior Bowl. They really liked him.
They did do like it. They did.
Yeah, at the running back.
And I wonder if that
we were talking about that earlier.
And you could probably get him in the third round, or you could possibly get him in the third round. They like him. The thing is, he's not a speedster. He's just a power guy, So I don't know. I mean, there's options.
Two things. I want to say the statement about the Dolphins and then kind of say something about the draft. Number one, the one guy that is still out there that I would love for the Dolphins to consider, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but Pat Fairmouth, tight end out of Penn State. I like him so much. And I think having two tight ends from Penn State, Gesicki and Fairmouth, I mean, I just feel like that would be amazing, number one. And so I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. But the other thing, and this is not Dolphins related per se, but we all talked internally about the draft. And one of the things that I was very surprised about was two things. J.C. Horn was picked before Surtain. And the other thing is Micah Parsons didn't even make it out of, or didn't get in the top 10. And those two things were very, I scratched my head. What did J.C. Horn have that Surtain didn't? And why was Parsons out of the top 10? I didn't really understand those two things.
J.C. Horn, I was watching that. When he did his pro days, he rose. He started to kill it, man. His pro days were phenomenal. And that put his stock up there, because when you look at those two guys, some people had Surtain higher, some people had Horn higher, but it was you pick 1A, 1B. But that pro day performance, out of this world. It's hard to pass on a guy when he performs like that.
I got to be honest with you. After pro day, I had J.C. Horn at the top first. I actually, in one of my mocks, I said that if Miami did trade down to 9, that they may actually be the target if Parsons wasn't on the board. I mean, he's a really good talent. There was also rumblings that Miami loved him as well. He just, wasn't the guy over Phillips at 18, especially with them not even thinking Phillips would be there at 18. But yeah, wait, well, he had asked one more question. What was it?
It was Fairmouth.
Yeah.
The tight end.
Yeah, from Penn State. Solo is watching. He says, if you go tight end, you got to go Brevin Jordan. I'm biased.
Yeah, I'm very.
I wouldn't mind Brevin.
But I think Fairmouth is the second best tight end in this draft. Number one. Yeah. He's still on the board, right? And we were all excited about, hey, what could we have with Kyle Pitts and Gesicki? I still think we could have the same thing with Fairmouth and Gesicki and still have Waddle. That's just my opinion.
So,
any thoughts?
Yeah, but I want to take it back a little bit. A couple of things you asked who we thought were having the best draft. I'll give you two. I'll give you. So, TD, he said Dallas. I agree with that. One thing he didn't add that I want to add to that is how Dallas did it too. They traded back with the team. They got an extra pick.
I'll be right back.
In a situation where they traded with Philly for a receiver. Nobody in that area was going for a receiver. So Dallas smartly still was able to pick up extra picks and still come away with exactly who they wanted. I will also say, I hate to say this, but Buffalo, they haven't had a lot of picks. But by going with that, with looking at what they need to like all the AFC East is tooling up with new quarterbacks now, right? And they're sitting at the top of the hill. So they're at a place of strength. By them going and getting Russo, man, that just makes them even more dangerous and sets them up in a situation where they can start to say, hey, look, you can add all these pieces on offense. We're still going to come at you defensively and do our thing. The other thing that those are the two guys that I think did really well. To go to the other thing, which you're talking about, Jacksonville, as much as I said the Dolphins needed a running back, for a team with so many holes, Jacksonville has a hole at every position. I don't buy going with a running back as high as they did when you're actually trying to rebuild your team from the ground up. I would have said that would have been a play. That would have been a place where I would have, done with my basically let me play my hand and see who I can get at value. But let me get a more critical spot when you literally have a team that's completely decimated and gutted. There's all these other key players, quality, expensive players coming behind there. And
Asante Samuel just came off the board. Chargers. I didn't mean to interrupt, man. I'm sorry. Florida State guy, though.
That's what this show is about, though.
Hey, look, I don't know who this Russell Voris is, but he said Greer is an idiot. I need you to explain more, my guy. Seriously, I need you to get up and explain more because I need to know why you think Greer is an idiot. You got to explain that more, my guy.
I love Russell. TD, you want to take that or you want me to take the Russell?
Who is Russell? Who
Hey,
is
He's a
Russell?
good guy.
just
He's
let
a-
Russell. Hey, let Russell wear his emotion, man.
Yeah.
Listen, we gonna talk Russell.
It's all
off the
love,
ledge
Russell. It's
tonight.
all love, man. It's all
Right.
love.
When Russell wants who he wants, Russell wants who he wants. But he is a tour guy, so
My
I'll
bad,
give
Joe.
him, but he's a good guy. I think he's just frustrated with how we're picking right now. Maybe he's seeing like other names on the board that he would potentially want instead of the guys that we've selected, but there's always a method to Russell's madness in a way. But I don't think Greer's an idiot. Like, I don't agree with him on that.
Russell, when we get that Super Bowl, man, you'll understand it all.
Hopefully that's in the next few years, down the next 20 to
This
30.
year.
Man,
Yeah.
How could you be a part of Miami sports music and you talking about next few years, man?
Because, hey, so, all right, let's talk about that.
Never
Let's
thought
talk
of
about
us.
the solo gets on me about that too. All right.
You heard
I
of
have PTSD. You all do. I'm so scared to say it because I've said it. I remember being in middle school in North Carolina, being the only Dolphins fan, talking about we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. We're going to win the Super Bowl this year. And yeah, I was pretty much teased about that my entire life. All right. So I'm very hesitant to say that we're going this year.
Steven, I gotta call you out now, man, because in today's society, everybody wants to talk about mental health and what the issue is, but I have to hold you accountable. What type of help are you seeking for that PTSD?
I hope Solo's not listening. I swear I hope he's not
What
listening.
type of help are you seeking so that you can become a better Dolphin fan and get rid of it? See, everybody want to sit.
Hi, my name is
Steven,
Steven, and I'm a Dolphins fan. I've been a Dolphins fan my whole life. Oh my gosh, yeah. We definitely need a recovery group as Dolphin fans. There's no doubt about
Listen,
that.
every time we lose a game, we have a post-game stream, and people come bring their co-pays, and I start counseling, man.
Do you take insurance?
Do you take insurance?
Oh my goodness.
Listen,
Yes.
being a female, especially like your opinion most of the time is never validated, especially like when men hear it. So when I would say Dolphins are winning Super Bowls, they would look at me like I was crazy. But like I said it with every conviction inside of me. Like, I don't think I've ever gone a year without saying we're going to make the playoffs.
Mommy wants you.
So
going to win the Super Bowl.
So what's worse, Vinsanity? Them not taking you seriously or being me and them laughing at you and thinking you're a joke? I mean, there's two different ones. You're being real quiet. You're being real quiet, Vinsanity. I'm just saying.
I would say mine, but like I've learned how to use that to my advantage. And TD knows what I'm talking about because I'll tell people to put your money where your mouth is first. If like you really gonna talk to me as a man. And there's still people who like still owe me receipts, but I ain't gonna call them out. But if you have PTSD, truly, I would say yours is worse because to me, I take it with stride. I love this team so much, and each year, I take some time away from football. I relax. I let go of all the anger and aggression that I've built up throughout the season, and then I come back with the next season with a positive attitude and ready for my team to win.
I don't smoke, but I swear everybody tells me as being a Dolphins fan my whole life that I should because it would mellow me out.
No.
Well, I don't smoke, and they tell me I be high on every show. So.
You be shaking a cup, and they just don't know what's in the cup, so they just assume.
He said orange juice, son, juicy juice.
H2O.
Oh man, then you were talking about your twisted teas and stuff. So I mean, you kind of put yourself in that, TD.
The other guard from Notre Dame came off the board, Aaron Banks.
And that when he starts talking about trading X, that's when he put himself in there. That's when I tell him he's high.
All right, so look, since we're all here, I will call myself out. So we did an NFL draft mock draft show, and we did 3 hours.
Did we?
And I forgot to hit record. Okay, I'm just saying.
Hey, it was electric too. We were going at it for 3 hours. Me, Steven, Jamie, Doug, Solo came. Wait, Solo came through a little. Well,
Wade was there.
Wade was there? Wade was there?
Man, we were going at it for 3 hours straight, recording this stream, and I was dropping all these gems, and Steven didn't record it. And that was the same stream that I said Phillips going at 18, and all of them like TD's delusional. I said, "Oh, Jamie, you'll see."
Yeah, I'll admit it. I'll go on record since it isn't recorded, since there's no proof of this anyway. It's like Will Chamberlain scoring 100 points.
There's a photo with him holding 100. That's all that there is.
And that's the same how I feel about TD and his pick about Jalen Phillips. There's a photo.
Hey, you were there. You know it to be true.
I'll go on record. I'll out it, right? I'll say this. You put it on paper. You called it. I'll say this. We all like the pick. I just was thinking that,
the stadium was going crazy. Yeah,
considering he balled out last year, but the concussion thing, how much did that worry the Dolphins? I was saying in the first round, do you take a risk on somebody that they might not play for you after this? What if they get one concussion? So that was my only concern. I'm excited about that pick, though, so good call.
Jamie, you brought up a very interesting point, and I'd like to get TD's take on this, too. There have been a lot of players recently over the last few years, first-round picks, like high draft picks, that will either retire after the season, their first season, or retire after their rookie contract. And is that something GMs are looking at now? And is there warning signs? Is there something is there something that GMs can say, this person is more likely to retire? Like, what do we think about that? What do we say? Like that's got to be something that comes up in meetings.
Well, there's two things. There's two things to that. And there's two reasons that could be happening. One is injury concerns. The more they learn about the sport and the impact that it's had historically, it is a violent, dangerous sport, and there's a lot of people in older age starting to show signs of things that no player wants to experience when they should be relaxing and living out the rest of their lives. That's one reason. But then when you have guys who don't play as physical positions taking that leave, I think that's having a lot to do with education. The more educated financially that some of these guys get, they get their money in the first 4 years and make as much as they can, and then they go and make business moves and do other ventures because they don't need the game of football anymore to change their life.
Do you think that players don't like the game? Is there a lot of players that probably don't like football, TD? It's
not that they don't like the game, but they've been playing it ever since a 3 or 4 year old, It's been, think about it. If you say you want to do a 20-year career doing something and you've been playing football since you were 4 years old, these guys coming off their rookie deals, they've worked an entire career. It's just that they didn't get paid for 16 years out of the 20. And you can look at it that way, actually, but that's why GMs, they have to look at it. They have to find people who love football. They have to find guys who are chasing the Hall of Fame. These are things discussed in those meetings, so it's a slippery slope these days. But if you do what we do, like the Patriots, and have the backup in the third year, you draft the backup, you never got to worry about that threat.
And let me add to that too, right? So, Steven, you asked, is that something they're talking about in the back rooms of the GM's concerned about? The game's changing from a mentality standpoint and how they run the game, right? Smart teams. The Dolphins are concerned about that, and there's a reason for it. Listen, these guys, if they play their rookie contracts and that's all we get from them, if they only get 5 years in, they're looking at it in that cyclical type of a notion, right? If these guys develop, they have to be superstars. They have to be somebody you're going to build around before you say, I'm give you that big contract. If they don't make it to that and give you something in the meantime, that's okay. So when they look at somebody who says, hey, this guy's having concussion issues or whatever the case is, he had a clean bill of health last year. He blew up last year. So they're going to take the risk. They're going to say, okay, cool. Maybe we only get 5 years out of him, but that's fine if that happens. Maybe we get more.
See, but let me interrupt. By that thinking, you're not allowing players to get better. Like, you're basically saying, you get up here, you mess up, or you suck in the beginning, we're not giving you a second chance.
And when you build into the draft the way they are, and you have these bevy of draft picks, you have that luxury, right? That's what I was talking about earlier in the show when I said that what I love about this version of the Miami Dolphins, why it works. The Miami Dolphins have made mistakes. Let me say that again. As good as they are, and as well as they're building this team, and all the pieces they've hit on, they've made some mistakes. We know that. But the good news is every time they make a mistake now, it doesn't hurt so much because they fix the mistake so quickly that before we have a chance to really dwell on it or burn on it, it's gone. It's out of here. We don't have to deal with it or care about it anymore. They really fixed it. And that's kind of the mentality by using these draft picks, bringing in these players. If one of these guys doesn't fit, then they move on. They draft the next guy, or they pull it in free agency. And if the free agent doesn't fit, they move them out. And I like that flexibility in building a team.
Insanity, your thoughts on that?
I like everything that Jamie just said. And also, they bring in a lot of guys, like just miscellaneous guys who just want a chance, who would give anything to play in the NFL. Every year we hear about all these future contracts that they're giving out to these guys, and guys all these undrafted guys that they bring in just to give them a tryout. So you're going to find somebody who's hungry, somebody who wants to play. And as you guys see, the way that we have, started structuring our contracts, even when we bring in free agents, if we need to move off of a guy because he's not performing up to what we think they should be or what we're paying them, we can move off of them. We can trade them. We can make the money work because we cleared our books and all that. So the fact that we're doing it right from the business aspect and the competitive aspect,
I'm gonna go to bed.
No worries about it. They like high character guys anyway. They interview these guys. They really get to know who they're bringing in this franchise before they even give them a contract to write their name on the dotted line.
Chef you exactly, Finsanity. They want to find a diamond in the rough.
And Finsanity, you nailed it when you talked about bringing in guys just to see if they stick, right? Preston Williams has a chance to be a star. They gave him a chance when they took that risk, and now that's a guy like he's coming down to the end of the contract. But look what they did. Look at how many wide receivers are sitting on this roster. He still has a chance, but that chance is starting to shrink, right? And we talked so Stephen was concerned about injuries and whatever. If Preston Williams doesn't stay healthy this year again and can't pull through, the Dolphins, we won't remember it was a mistake because they already backloaded with all these great receivers. And by the time as one of those guys comes in and steps in, we won't even remember the Preston Williams situation. And on the flip side, let me go on the positive end of it. Let's just say Preston Williams blows up this year. That was a guy that fell to us, that they went and took a risk on, and now we have a number 2 or number 3 wide receiver. That's crazy. So that's the double.
Yeah, but look at Devontae Parker. There were plenty of teams and there were plenty of fans that said we should give up on Devontae. We should give up on Parker. And we didn't. We stuck with them, and I think it's worked out. Personally,
Parker's still on notice, by the way, just so you know, the way they're running this team, he's still on notice. It worked out for that contract. Now he's fighting again for another one, and that's the way the Dolphins want it.
Listen, I keep preaching to everyone, please pay attention to the Flores and Greer guys and the non-Flores and Greer guys. Xavier Howard is not in the 3+ year future for this team. Devontae Parker is not in the 3+ year future of this team. Jerome Baker is not in the 3+ year future of this team. I mean, Mike Gesicki, that's questionable. I want to ask y'all this. Out of all of those players, well, the younger ones, because remember, X is on the higher side from an age standpoint, and Devontae Parker too. And so they're not those guys. You cannot expect them to be here 3 years down the road from now, okay? But out of Gesicki, Baker, and any of Bobby McCain, all those middle of the road guys that aren't Greer and Flores guys, who's the most valuable? And I would argue with you that is Mike Gesicki. He's the only one that potentially has a chance to be long term. But the rest of these guys are replaceable and move on from.
I think tight ends in the NFL are not a dime a dozen, right? They come at it. It's very tough to find. Let's go back and look at the last 20 years. The same tight ends consistently make the Pro Bowl, right? Tony Gonzalez, Rob Gronkowski, my boy in Kansas City. Antonio Gates. It's consistently these same guys year in and year out. There's maybe 3 or 4 great tight ends, and then there's no in between. It just drops. It falls off. So I would agree with that standpoint that that Gesicki's probably the most valued player on our team right now.
Let me agree, but let me qualify that, right? I wouldn't say it just drops, right? There's two types of tight end, two types of great tight ends, right? You have the tight ends that you just classified who are, I don't know if you want to call them hybrid. They're weapons, right? Those are guys that can line up in your line and give you blocking and go out there and still be great red zone threats or another piece of your offense, right? Those guys are hard to find because usually when you get guys that big, think about it. Like TD mentioned, these guys are playing from when they're kids. Some of these guys are big from when they were kids, right? So some of these guys playing when you're that big, you play a certain position, so you don't get a chance to have good hands and do all those things. So when you have these freaks of nature that can do it all, that's great. So that's one part of it. But then you also have the other type that we don't give all the glamour and fame to that end up with pretty long careers, 10, 15 years. They don't make it to the Pro Bowl because they're not lighting up fantasy stats, but they're coming in there and lining up and being solid tight ends too. So you have that. So why I bring that up is, yes, I agree. Gesicki is very valuable because he's on that other spectrum. He is a valuable weapon as a tight end spot. But even though he's being valuable, I want you guys to notice something. Gesicki has never been the number one on the depth chart since he's been a Miami Dolphin. That tells you something too. Think about that. That tells you how much what they think of him too. To TD's point of whose guy is he? He's never been the number one tight end on the depth chart. Go check it out.
You're right. That's something I always looked at it as a formality, but it makes sense because I don't think Gesicki has the highest probability, but that's why I'm telling you all the Greer and Flores guys, they're not just absolutely guaranteed on this team like that. And yeah, there are best players right now because it's what we know right now. But we do need to address the tight end position. I believe they do need to bring in a young talent for the future and see if you can work them out at the position.
Insanity, your thoughts on who the most valuable player probably is, like importance? Yeah.
Like Flores or non-Flores guy? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, TD, this was your question.
What was that? I'm sorry.
So now I'll help. So Insanity,
like so from the non-Flores guys, like who's most likely to stay on our roster?
Yeah, who's the most valuable to Miami out of the non-Flores guys, the young ones that we're trying to build around or that are part of this build right now? Let's put it that way.
I would say it's going to be dependent on what he does this year, but I would look at like a guy like Jerome Baker because we have not yet addressed the linebacker position yet in the draft. So if he's able to take the necessary steps forward and, keep growing, because we've seen his growth continually every year, Baker might be that guy. I'm just saying. He's still young. He's not too old. And he's very coachable.
Yeah. I have Baker as most likely to get a renegotiated contract. First one to get a renegotiated contract out of the bunch. That's my thought. I think that we might let the clock run on Gesicki unless he's blowing it up this year. But Baker may get renegotiated to help out with the cap hit too. So I see that from that standpoint. And just look at his usage, right? The guy was one of the most heavily used guys on the defense last season and the season prior. So it tells you that they like what he brings. And it's hard when you use a guy that much and he is effective, right? It isn't like they're just using him and he's not racking up stats or making plays for you. Use a guy that much, it's hard to replace. So that's the other thing that I think makes him valuable too. Agreed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen. Agreed. And my thing is like this. That's why I said the fact that we just have not addressed the linebacker position yet. I love what how Van Ginkel has truly developed. That's Mr. Ballgame's guy. I always have to give credit where the credit is due because I did not see that coming from Andrew. But from the standpoint of someone directing and leading your defense, yeah, especially like when Eric Rowe and Bobby McCain are going to be out, you're talking about X possibly leaving, you're going to need a voice in the middle.
Thank you.
That's what I'm going with.
Thank you for bringing up AVG because I want to teach a lesson today. This is what we were talking about for all those fans like Stephen E that want to jump off a building that want to say, I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. Why are they, not picking these players? Or why did they keep this guy? Why did they invest in this guy? And that's what I was trying to point out, the free agency versus the draft strategy, who they get versus who they don't get, right? Kyle Van Noy was he was the second highest free agent that the Dolphins went and targeted. So he was one of the top guys in free agency last year. He was brought in because the Dolphins wanted to fill that spot, had a need. They wanted a player to play that type of a way. They found their guy in the draft. They said, okay, cool. AVG is here. Let's see how this goes or whatever. Building his way up for the team. And when they realized when he was on the field, like, yep, he's doing exactly what we want out of this spot. I don't need to pay a guy $15 million a year anymore because I got my guy that I'm building that's on a lower contract that's going to build my culture. And you know what? In a few years from now, maybe I draft a replacement for him. But he's my guy right now. Van Noy, I don't need you. And that's the process that's happening here that I love. That's the beauty of all of this.
And also what I love is we got some day one starters, man. Waddle is a day one starter. The tackle guard, he's a day one starter as well. That's what people have to. He is going to find a spot on that line, and mark my words, he's going to be starting day one on the field. And we were able to get that. We moved up to get it, but it was a very valuable pick. And a good move. So day one starters. Phillips, the only reason I don't put him as a day one starter because he doesn't have to be. He's a guy who can come in to start out, give you reps as he continues to grow in this defense. And then whenever it's his turn, he's going to take over and be just as good, if not way better, than Agba and or Van Noy was. So that's what they're doing. They're building for the future. And the other pick as safety, again, I don't think that's day one starter unless he like just balls out in camp and they're able to move on from one of the guys that we already have. So
hey, I'm going to interrupt real quick because we have a special guest on the line all the way from Cleveland. I got my man Danny live at the draft. Danny, what's up, man?
Danny,
go ahead. Talk, brother. Tell us. Go ahead.
We're here. We got a little bit till we're on the clock. We have 4 picks. Don't know if I can hear you guys at all, man. But you can hear me, man. Just love this whole experience, man. Just amazing.
Hey, can you hear me? What's been the experience there?
Just electric. Show you guys a little bit of what's going on down here with us live. Get you here in the Dolphins sector. Hey, guys. Miami Sports Music live.
Hey, what's up, Nate?
There you go, guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Fins up.
All right, awesome. Awesome.
Hey, are you having a good time?
Love
You having a good time?
It's a shame to hear anything here.
Hey, look, that's Danny from the Positive
Sandy, I see you,
Focus.
baby. Hope you're doing okay, gal.
Thanks, man.
Shout out to all y'all, man. Y'all killing it. I've been checking in.
All right. Thanks, bud. Look, man, I love it. It's been oh God, I love that. That's really cool to see that people are there in Cleveland having a good time. And number one, Danny's amazing from TPP. They raised over $50,000 for the Dolphins Cancer Challenge this year. And they do such an amazing job, and I love Danny. That's really cool. I like that.
Okay, so I got a question for everybody out there. So we've seen what the Dolphins have done so far. And TD, you brought up a good point. This is something I always like to look at too. I say in the first round when you draft players, they should be starters unless it's your quarterback that you're going to develop and have you pick to be the quarterback of the future. But first round, they're starters. They should come in and help your team right away. Or let me not use the word starter. They should get playing time, significant playing time from the first year. Day 2 picks, somewhere in that same realm too, right? So let me say this. What would you guys be upset about if the Dolphins did not address? Like if we came away from this day, if you're thinking, hey, we got to find a starter, what position would you be upset that the Dolphins did not address?
Well, I would have said offensive line about 30 minutes ago. I was about to lose my mind. That's a good question, Jamie. Let me go back to the tight ends just because for me, I'm kind of hung on it. I look at Matt Collins, and I like the guy. He's very eccentric, but is he somebody that if Gesicki went down, could he fill in and be a number one tight end? I don't know if he could, and so I would like to see us address the tight end position at the number 2 tight end spot, and with somebody that could be a number one if Gesicki went down. And I think that we need to really look at that. To me, that's important.
I think what's important right now, they still need to go get a young center. You still have quality guys, and I know people are concerned about injuries, but listen, I like Alabama center. I mean, I just feel like it's good enough to bring him in in a later round and let him see if you. Yeah,
he's already off the board.
Yeah, he's already off the board, bro.
No, he's
already
not.
off the
Yes,
board.
he is.
Did I miss that?
He's going, yeah. So we picked the safety, and then
And
the
they
very
got him,
next
like,
pick
right
was
after.
Dickerson.
But I thought he was gonna slide.
Well, you thought
He
wrong,
did.
sir, because that man
As soon as
was
it
the very
happened, I
next
was
pick
like,
after
dang.
the safety that we got
Oh,
after Holland.
never mind what I was saying.
Now, but Quinn Morenes, right? Is he,
That's who I have my eye on. So for me, right, from this day, the positions that I hope that they address, because I expect to see starters come out of this, right? So I already checked off and get the safety that I wanted. They didn't even just get a safety; they got the guy that I wanted. So that went out the window. I did mention that I wanted them to get a tackle, right? I just didn't pick the right tackle. I was thinking Dickerson also. But they went and got the Notre Dame guy, and you guys love that pick, so I'm excited to see how that goes, right? So now I'm left to a couple of places. I'm starting to get off of from thinking if they're going to be a starter or not, but I'm thinking of linebacker because it's an area we still haven't drafted in a while, right? Of any significance or success. So I'm thinking linebacker. I'm still on the guy Quinn as the center, so I'm thinking center. And dare I say it one more time, running back, right? Those are the 3 areas that if one of those 3 aren't touched, then I start to get a little bit of, okay, maybe that's a next year thing. You know, what are we doing with those areas? That's my thought.
Well, I mean, I think the better question should be what's going to put us as a Super Bowl contender? And is that person that could be an X factor still available on the third round and beyond? Is there somebody that's in this draft right now that could make a difference in us being a contender this year?
So I have to be honest with you. I have to answer that differently. So you asked a very powerful question. What would make us a Super Bowl contender? I don't think anything left to do in this draft will specifically do that. I like the strategy that they've already taken. To become a Super Bowl contender, you have to look at what you missed on last year, right? So last year, let's start off with the part that everybody loved, and I also loved. The defense. The defense got a lot of attention. The defense was heralded, and people would call it, hey, this defense is amazing. The defense was good. It was respectable. But the defense was also very opportunistic, right? Our defense wasn't, and we proved it in the last game against Buffalo. That's why when we were talking about the picks, I said, I don't know if they win that game against Buffalo then, the game of the season. And the reason for that is if the Dolphins didn't, the key to Dolphins last year was, hey, we got to start off ahead of teams. We got to start off strong, get a lead, and then we could tee off on teams, right? So the first thing we needed to do is not be able to have to tee off of teams where you could just rely on blitzing and that type of a scheme of defense. You need to be able to still have a solid defense that can play without blitzing and still be stout. So what I mean by that is that's why the Jalen Phillips pick is so brilliant. And that's why I think he'll get good playing time, right? Because now you could just line up, you could still do the amoeba, disguise it, make people think that blitz that they so fear so much is coming, and you really just have your guys on the end, one breaks free or whatever the case is. So the defense being more where they don't have to be so exotic, that's one way to get you to being a Super Bowl contender. The second part is the offense was not consistent. We had one game maybe out of 2 that was amazing where you put it all together. The Arizona game was marvelous, right?
The fourth quarter of the Kansas City game, third and fourth quarter of the Kansas City game was good too.
Yeah, so you saw speckles of what could be. But look at the reason why the offense was pedestrian in some cases is no secret that our wide receivers were either our wide receivers or our receivers put Gesicki in there with 50-50 guys, meaning they're not getting separation. They're guys who can try to go up and get it. We didn't have, I keep talking about that ground and pound, that running game, which could allow you to run better routes that can help you get separation because we couldn't do play action fakes as consistently or as good to a point where people would respect it, right? All those different things need to change. So what I think is going to happen, I think the Dolphins addressed it. I think on offense, they did a couple of things, right? Not just the draft, but Fuller coming in and Waddle coming in is not just the speed for those guys. I want everybody to go and look at the highlights. Look at when these guys beat you. It's not just speed, it's also quickness and crispness in their route running, right? That's what gets the separation. With Tua's accuracy now, and if he gets to see a glimmer of light in between these receivers, that's going to allow the offense to be a little bit more explosive and to be able to be a quick strike offense. Those things make you a contender. Then so I think they've done as much as they can, and some of it is just going to be time. It's going to be another year in this system, another year these guys playing together. So that's my thoughts on what it takes to Super Bowl.
Jamie, Steven set you up with that question, bro. Okay, he said, "What else can we do to become Super Bowl contenders?" Right?
Yeah.
First of all, nothing, because we're already Super Bowl contenders with what we've already done. Okay. And then I'm going to take the same page out of Jamie's playbook here and go with, you got to look at last year. We're talking about potentially top 5 defense. That's kind of how we played for the most part after the injuries earlier on with Byron Jones and the inconsistent injuries that we had on the defense. But not only did we get better defensively by not having to run all these zero blitzes, because now we have multiple threats from the pass rush standpoint, which provides more coverage in the secondary in times where you're going to need it. We got better on defense, even in run stopping. The defense should literally be top 5 defense this year, guaranteed, and that's what I'm looking forward to. But the reality is you got to look on offense, okay? The receivers, well, that was an issue last year. Now we are in a situation that even if we have injuries, we should be fine.
Yeah.
We should be fine even if we have injuries. No excuse. Running back by committee, we'd like to tighten up that position. And the offensive line, ladies and gentlemen, however you want to grade it, this offensive line is set. And the guys that we have right now, they are going to work out to give you the best 5. And that best 5 is going to be a good 5. Now, will it be the very best 5 in the NFL? They're too young to make that assumption. But at the same token, you're going to get a good 5. Okay? Now, they're not done on the O-line. They're going to draft another guard, but it might even be in the 6th round or something. But they'll get another guard. I think they're done in the tackle world, in my opinion, because they got a lot of versatile players. The real thing that it's what it's going to take, this team is already built to compete, because the real issue right now is whether or not Tua Tagovailoa is going to take the next step, and if we can get a running back to be the workhorse. Those are the 2 biggest areas that are going to determine how far we go this year. Nothing more, nothing less. It's Tua Tagovailoa, and it is the running back position. It's that simple. Nothing more, nothing less. No, don't look at defense. Don't look at the rest of the offense. It's Tua, and what are they going to do with the running back situation? That is it. This team is ready, because I'll tell you this. What if you did add one of those elite quarterbacks? We don't need to name them. You know the ones rumored out here. What if you did add one of them? The whole world would say Miami Dolphins are Super Bowl contenders.
They got your guy, Steven.
So the tight end's gone.
They got your guy.
Who did?
Steelers. They
got both of our guys, Najee and Fairmouth.
Oh.
All right. Well, that answers my question from earlier. Pittsburgh's having a hell of a draft.
Well, they have to.
Can I ask y'all a question? Can I ask y'all a tough question?
Go ahead. I'm here for a tough question.
If Tua doesn't take the next step, how far does that set us back?
I mean, If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
I think as a Dolphins fan, that would devastate me because that means we've tried everything. We tried free agents. We've tried drafts. We've tried late round draft picks. We've tried top 10, top 5 draft picks. It's almost as if we're cursed, right? Like Dan Marino cursed us. I love the man, but the son of a bitch cursed us. All right. And if Tua's not the guy, which I am not saying he is, he's not. He is. I'm a Tua believer, as Finsanity, number 1 Tua near. Okay, I'm number 2, right beyond it. What I'm saying is, to answer your question, though, I mean, I think, oh my God, I don't even want to think about that, dude. It's such a tough question because the reality is, what happens to Deshaun Watson, right? Like let's say he stays in Houston this year. Does he get suspended? Does he not? Let's figure out what happens with that. Number 2, who's coming out in the draft next year, right? Next year, college football is going to look a lot different than it did the last 2 years. And then finally, number 3, I mean, is there somebody that's on a roster right now that's a backup that comes here and has a resurgence in their career?
Nope.
So I don't have a good answer for you, honestly.
I just feel like Finsanity, please enlighten me. Talk to me, please.
Well, since we're supposed to be celebrating the draft and the next, the beginning of the next season for the Dolphins, Tua will take the next step, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
And
She didn't want to answer the question.
we will let the chips fall where they may. But as of right now, he's innocent until proven guilty, unlike TD. So
all right, Jamie.
He's taking the next step. I'm not
Jamie,
worried. I'm not worried about that.
Did you hear
right now.
TD's question before we lost you?
No, what was the question?
I'll let TD ask.
Jamie, you're not gonna want to hear it, Jamie.
Oh man. See, my internet saved me, right? I knew you were gonna.
It did.
You could come with something I just didn't want to hear.
So if Tua doesn't take the next step, how far back does that set us?
Ooh. Actually, that's a good question, but I got a hopeful answer, man. You're not gonna do that to these Dolphins fans today. Dolphin fans, I got you, right? Don't worry about TD trying to bring this cloud over you. It was not the guy. What I told you before, these guys are writing in pencil, man. They can fix it. You got multiple first-round draft picks coming up next year. You got multiple coming up the year after that, right? You brought in Brissett, who you said is the starter, by the way. I will tell people you said that.
Who said that?
What receipts do you have? What receipts do you have of me saying that, Jamie?
Wait, Jamie, I might need you as a character witness in this trial of TD Finch talk.
That was the episode that I didn't hit record. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't remember that part. Can you bring the footage? Let me see the footage.
I told you it was a good episode. But they're writing in pencil, man. So I'll tell you one thing: the ink isn't dry there. I expect Tua to take the next step. But you asked the question: if he does it set us back? It does not set us back. All it does, it means we still have that open question, and they can find the next guy, put him in.
I like what Joshua said. 2 first-round picks in 23 if Tua doesn't work out, but it would likely set us back a couple more years.
See, I don't think so because we've actually built a team and built a roster. It would just be about finding the right guy. Like,
right,
so.
But check it out. We got Waddle, in my opinion, because that's who Tua wanted.
Nah.
I don't think so.
Not at all.
Nah.
So I will disagree with that.
Tua was not surprised. You saw his reaction. Like he knew.
No.
He knew what was up.
I don't think they told us. They're not telling their players. They're not telling anybody. This team does not want stuff to leak. You may tell you the darkest day in the Dolphins history in this regime of Flores and Greer. I'm telling you, they probably broke something that day. The day when it came out that Tua was going to be the starter, and that leaked. That was not very Dolphin-esque of Flores and Greer.
Flores was
That's not how they do things. And you know what they probably did? They probably did something very nice and had some courtesy and called Tua and called his family and said, hey, you're going to start. And then got out. And that's not how the Dolphins do things. So when it comes to this draft, you think they were telling anybody before? And hell no, they didn't tell anybody. They would have told people what they want to get out, but they didn't tell Tua who that pick was. And Tua did not influence. And let me say this. Tua influenced that pick, but not by his words. The Dolphins already said before the draft, when all that stuff was going on about, hey, we're going to trade, we're going to get, Tua's not the guy, we're going to trade Tua out to Houston. They said that we're picking the offensive coordinators. We're going to build this offense to fit Tua's strengths.
So if Herbert was our quarterback instead of him, we still would have drafted Waddle yesterday?
No, that's what I just said. So Tua influenced the pick by what they said is they're going to pick people that fits his strengths.
And that's the point I'm trying to make with Insanity, is that we designed this team around one man, which I am perfectly fine with.
No.
But if he fails, you got to tear it apart.
That's disaster if they did that. I don't think they did that, but if they did, that is disaster, because then that answers the question that I had. If they built this team around one man and he flops, then yeah, we got set back 10 years.
No, but
might well be.
So I will say it different. It's not black and white in that way, right? They built it to make him stronger. They built it to fit and accentuate his strengths, right? So, but if he doesn't work out and he's not the guy, doesn't mean that you can't take another guy and put him in this offense and still work with some of the same tools and maybe a little bit better, right? Look at the whole Garoppolo thing that's going on right now where they drafted. Those guys, don't get me wrong, Garoppolo got them to the Super Bowl, right? If he was just a tad bit better or had a tad bit more, they might even won that game, right? So them going in and getting another guy, Garoppolo might still be the starter this year. But what they did was like, hey, we built an offense where we could pull this guy out, pull in another guy that's not exactly the same type of quarterback, but can still play with these weapons. And honestly, we could probably do some different things now with these weapons. That's what the Dolphins are going to do if this doomsday situation that Dolphins fans, please don't let these guys cause you to jump. Please don't become Steven, right? We're not putting Tua in a coffin today. Tua's the guy. They're going to ball out, right? This disaster situation, which we hope doesn't happen, does not mean that the Dolphins are lost. They can go get a guy, pull him in, and tweak. And by the way, some of those tweaks are some of these guys that we're saying that are on notice. Maybe Parker's time is done because the new guy they pull in, they need somebody different. Maybe they need more now, like a Jamar Chase type receiver that they put in. It doesn't hurt because you had a guy that you were on the bubble with anyway.
All right, look, I want to wrap this up in another 5 minutes here within the next few minutes. So I want to get everybody's last kind of take. Number one, this has been fun. Truly enjoyed this. Unfortunately, Wade had technical difficulties, couldn't get in. Doug was having technical difficulties and couldn't get in. But that's all right. We'll get them later on down the road. And Allie's preparing for the beach bash tomorrow, which I will be at. But I want to get everybody's final thoughts on today's picks. So, Insanity, I'll start with you. What do you think about today's picks? What do you think about where we're at as a draft in a whole?
Personally, I love it. They've addressed both sides of the ball. They got into it, some more protection, which I absolutely love, and they got one of what some people think might be the best safety. So we got the best safety, potentially the best defensive end in the draft. So they're beefing up this defense, but they're also not neglecting the offensive side of the ball. They got to a weapon. And they got him some protection. And yesterday, the one thing I was harping on was protect Tua, protect your future, protect your quarterback. So I have no complaints. And if anybody is, harping over it because they want a running back, go look at the names that are still available. I'm pretty sure you'll like one of them.
All right. Hey, Insanity, where can everybody find you?
Oh, I'm in. Listen, I'm about to go 0 Dark 30 again. TD keeps trying to pull me out and what's the name?
Into the light.
Into the light. Yeah, I'm working on the trial.
For those of you who don't know, if Insanity is on that grind in those school books, she's getting that degree, and we love her and we're behind you. We keep doing your thing, girl. And anytime you can get on with us, we are here because the masses love what Insanity has to say.
But the part 2 of the trial of TD Finn's talk will be coming up the last week of June. So stay tuned. TD is on trial. Jamie, I'm gonna be hitting you up about this Jacoby Brissett being our starting quarterback take that allegedly is out there.
I've received my subpoena to show up to court. I will be there to testify.
Hey, technically it's recording because we're live, just so everybody knows. It's recording.
So everyone like part 1, so part 2 is coming in June, and we'll probably wrap it up sometime before the season starts. TD has been indicted by the fan base.
All right,
congratulations.
Jamie, I'm going to come to you next. Same question that I had to Finsanity. Your thoughts on today's picks, your thoughts overall on where the team's at right now, and go from there.
But I hate feeling this good about a Dolphins draft because we know it's never what we think it is, right? So I wish I felt worse about what they did, but I don't. I love what they did. They went out and got the most dynamic receiver out of the top receivers there. So they found a guy that they can find to use many different ways from day one. Perfect. We went and you had a serious need at defensive end, right? You only had Ogba, you had Shaq Lawson. He's gone, and he wasn't the answer, unfortunately. So now you get somebody that's potentially going to push Ogba, right? Somebody can come in and just has the potential of doing more. So you fill a need without even having to jump, right? That's a guy that shouldn't even be on the board at that point. So wonderful value, right? In the second round, they came in, and I never expect to get a pick right. I really don't. But they come, and I said safety was a big place they need to invest in. That's a place they have to go and get. And they went and got, by my opinion, the best safety on the board. And then you guys brought it up and say, hey, the line isn't finished. They're going to move this guy and rotate him in. So we need a tackle, and brought in a solid tackle. So I love everything about what's happened so far, to the point that Finsanity brought up, if there's still a running back to be had, I would like to see this next pick be, but I don't want it to be a reach. So if it's not Sermon or if it's not Carter from UNC, move on. Let's do something else, right? Those are the names I like. Those are the names that I would go, and I wouldn't consider to settle at that value. But I love what's happening right now. The Dolphins are hitting it out of the park.
All right, where can everybody find you? We know that 305 Sports, the official sports news provider, you're teamed up with them. You're the lead contributor, lead editor, lead news writer. I don't even know what title. You have so many titles. Media director of Miami Sports Music. Where can everybody find you, man?
I love that, and that's what I want to tell people. So, you know what? First of all, find me on Twitter. The handle is sitting there, at the Jamie Bahamas. If you like my takes, come tell me. If you hate it, come talk. Let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about those Dolphins. But I'll make it easy for you guys. So you can find me on Twitter at the Jamie Bahamas, and otherwise at MiamiSportsMusic.com, where we are all at there. You can find what I'm doing, and also at 305sports.net. Stay happy, Fins fans.
All right, TD, I'm going to let you kind of be the last person before myself. Same thing. What do you think about tonight's picks? Where do you see the team as a whole in this draft, and anything else going forward?
The draft so far, man, has been it's just been a slam dunk to me because we took care of position needs. A lot of people, Jamie made a good point. They forget about we moved on from Shaq Lawson as well. That adds even more fuel to the point of Jalen Phillips. But here's what people need to realize. We got the best defensive end on the board. We got the best safety on the board. We got the best receiver, and some could argue Chase was better or whatever, but at the time that we were allowed to get, we got the best receiver on the board. And we bring in an offensive lineman who can play multiple positions, who also just stated in an interview, listen, at the end of the day, I'm ready to play all 5 positions on the O-line because I can. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miami Dolphins are taking care of business, and they're doing it right. They are doing it right. So we're knocking it out the park. This team as a whole, we're headed in the right direction. At the end of the day, you know how I feel. No matter what we do, we got to put it on the field, and we got to really hope that, Waddle, Gesicki, Devontae Parker, Preston, Fuller, that they build the chemistry that they need with Jacoby Brissett to get this job done, all right? But that's all I got.
All right, look, guys, this has been absolutely an amazing time here on Miami Sports Music. I am Stephen D, Vice President of Miami Sports Music and the director of the podcast network. This has been truly exciting. I wish everybody else was able to make it and hear the blasphemy that's coming from TD, all that. But what I do want to do is just kind of say, if you have not seen Miami Sports Music's new clothes, the new shorts, where's those new shorts at? You got to check them out. All right. Got a new pair. Make sure you go on miamisportsmusic.com. Get those new shorts, the DWA shorts. They're definitely dope. We want to make sure that we get everybody there. And then also check us out sometime later on this evening or tomorrow. I'm going to be on with Golf Freaky to make a huge announcement with her. And tomorrow morning, we're going to be doing some live coverage on social media, YouTube, from the Beach Bash. So we're really excited about that, and that's going to be a good time. This has been TD Fins Talk, D. Jamie Bahamas, Finsanity, myself, Stephen D. You can find me at Stephen D. SKPL. We love you guys. Fins up. Peace out.
Peace.
Hey, yo, Steven, we got to get.
That's what's up, man.
Hey,
y'all give me a second.